Yeah, people were talking about jails to me. What were jails like in my times? Jails in my times, mate, was different. Mate, it was a different world. It's like I'm going to put something on my thumb now. I'll show you what a cell was like in my times. Yeah, I'm on about the 60s, 70s, going up to early 80s. Yeah, and this is a free up cell. Yeah, I've been in cells in Wandsworth when they're four up. Yeah, when the actual prisoners caco with people, absolutely chock a block. I remember they said in the 70s that it was about 41,000 prisoners in English jails. Yeah, they said if it ever gets to 43,000, the prisons are going to explode. It's just too much. You wouldn't be able to handle it. Now it's 87,500 people in British prisons as yet. Yeah, it may be even more. You know, and they're saying that in British prisons there are 17,500 to 18,000 Muslims in British jails. Um, and that's a lot, you know what I mean? That's a lot. Prisons have changed to what they was years ago. Um, you could drive up to a prison years ago, mate, and as soon as you went through that gate, you become into a different world. It's like, you're going to come in there, and even the screws and all that are uglier. They're all ugly people. Outside, they're normal. As soon as they walk through that gate, they turn to ugly people, horrible people. In my times, yeah. In my times, there was all ex-military MPs, yeah. And there was all big guys, big powerful guys that would come in your cell, take their hat off, and have a fight with you. You know, that is what it was like in my times. And it was a better place. And it was a better place. Believe it, people go, why did you come back? But we did. We all come back. And it's like someone was talking the other day about, I've done Borstalls. I've done YPs. And I went to prisons. And in my Borstal, you're seeing people in there, yeah? And you're fighting with them, and when you move then to your YP, you're meeting the same people you see in the Borstal. And then you go to prisons and you're seeing them same people, and you got respect all the time. You're not fighting that much because all the people know that you can have a right fight, It seems to be one of those things that goes on. So, in my early 70s, 74s, in Albany, Muslims in Albany, then if they come down for their breakfast and it was pork or bacon, if they didn't eat it, they wouldn't get no other food. It wasn't because you're Muslim, you're no different to what we are. If you don't eat it, don't want it, don't eat it, you ain't getting nothing different. But they would come later on over to me being in the kitchen, can you get us something to eat? I go, look, the only thing I can really get, mate, is pork and beef. Pork, beef, chickens, but it's very hard. It's easier for me to get pork than anything. Bacon and sausage, yes, get it. And you get loads of it and they'll be eating it. And so, Muslims then in them times wasn't true Muslims as such, but now it's changed. Now someone comes in, and when they come down for breakfast and they don't get pork, they get eggs and different sorts of things like that, yeah? Which is their religion. But it's changed for them. Everything's changed for them. They get everything they want. Muslims in prison now take over prisons because they stick together. They stick white Muslims, brown Muslims, black Muslims, whatever it is, they stick together. Right? If you have a fight with one Muslims, you're having a fight with 18,000 Muslims. And that's what it's like. White people, you have a fight, you'll be lucky that you get another mate with you to give you a hand. That's what it's like. But Muslims stick together because the reason they stick together is because they took over the drugs side of prisons. They sell the drugs in prisons, so everybody wants their drugs, so they love them. Years ago, sex offenders in prison go on a thing called 43, where they wasn't allowed up in the wings because they get killed. Now and again, you get one that slips in. Screw tells us we bash him up, he goes down the block, yeah. But it's different now because of the Muslims turn out. They get them. They say to them, okay, we know you're a sex offender, but you do us a favour, we'll do you a favour. We're going to give you drugs. We want you to run the drugs around the neck, right, and sell them and give them to people, right? And if you get any problems from anybody, we'll review 100%. We'll make sure you're okay. So they're getting a little bit of drugs, they get looked after, they get bashed up. So therefore, you're getting all these people that are sex offenders hurting people's kids on the streets. And people down the street think when they come to prison, they get bashed up. No, when they come to prison, they get looked after by the Muslims. So they don't get hurt, you know. So these people are mucking them out with your children outside, come to prison, they're getting everything they want. It's not good, mate. It's changed. It's all changed, you know. And it's like Tommy Robinson now. You know, the march goes to the march. There's a lot of people. Say there's 10,000 people that turn up, and out of the 10,000 people, there might be 100 young guys there. You want to say young, under the age of 8, under the age of 40, or under the age of 30. Say, yeah, because the rest of them are no, I ain't going to cut no march. What's the point? Going to the march because of all the Muslims in this country. Well, all these Muslims in this country look after me and my drugs. If I get rid of these Muslims, where my drugs going to come from? Because you've got to remember, a lot of the Albanians are Muslims as well, yeah? And so they're all dealing with the drugs. And you ain't going to stop it. It's what's happened in this country. You know, they're more powerful than white English. They're more powerful, mate. They stick together. So, because you ain't got no young people going to the marches and trying to meet so you can get them to come, it's not that easy. They go to football matches, young kids, because they like football. They're Muslims. It doesn't matter about Muslims and the football matches. It doesn't matter. But Muslims going to marches, young kids are getting their drugs from these Muslims, going to marches. Oh, hold up, no, I'm not having that. What do I want to go there for? If I get rid of all the Muslims, where am I getting my drugs from? Who's going to get me my drugs? No, leave that out. The Muslim I deal with are nice people. I don't want them to leave this country. I want them to stay. The more the merrier. So this is why they've got no chance of getting young men there. I don't think so anyway, because of the drugs. I don't think that'll ever work. Personally myself, yeah. Obviously there's loads and loads of white people up to 40 and onwards that will go to the march. But young kids, young men, I doubt it very much. I doubt it very much, mate. I doubt it very much. They're getting all the drugs and as they said, yeah. Also, you know, prison is a different place to what it was years ago, yeah. It's different, mate. It's completely changed. As I just said, it's run by Muslims now. I don't want to ever go back to prison. I've had enough of prison, mate. I mean, in my times, prison was a place where, you know, proper men were. Now it's not that way. It's run by drugs, mate. You know, drugs was coming in prison when I was in prison, but in smaller quantities, little bits of drugs. Now it's just run by drugs. Drugs took over the prisons. People are dying in prisons of drugs, and they're coming out. In a bad way. They're coming out, you know, and they're needing their drugs and they're dying because they can't get it. So they're going to the Muslims and they get like, okay, that's why all these young kids now. If you notice, all the young kids, they're getting drugs and they're running all around England with drugs and guns and money for Muslims. You know, it's never going to change. It's here now to stay. You know, the government, they must be getting a right few backhanders or someone to keep these people as it is. Tommy Robinson and Paul Thorpe and Tomo are doing a good job, you know, trying to change it, but it's going to be hard. It's going to be really hard. You know, 10,000, 20,000, 100,000, you want millions really to try and change this. Bang, bang, round, nice one.